All right. Thank you. Thank you all for having me. Real exciting to join the Frisco launch, second week here. So really quickly, how many of you all have used self-storage before? Most of you. That's a lot. All right. How many of you enjoy the back and forth to the unit? No hands went up. Of course they didn't. Nobody enjoys that, right? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the traditional storage market and what we've done to provide a better disruptive concept to what's out there. First off, a couple of stats on the storage market. It's a really, really big industry, about 55,000 storage facilities across the country, right around 3 billion square feet. That, if you kind of put that in something that's visual, if you filled up Manhattan with storage units times 3, that's about how many storage facilities are across the country. So very, very large. Took 25 years to build the first billion square feet of storage space, then another 8 years to build the next billion. So it's a massively, it's growing like crazy. Big demographic shift right now with where we are with the baby boomers, downsizing happening. So it's a market that continues to grow. So everything's bigger in Texas, right? So the red dots represent storage facilities in the DFW Metroplex. They're everywhere. You may not have noticed them, but you probably will after this chat. 1,200 to 1,400 facilities in DFW. That's more than anywhere else in the country, about 60 to 70 million square feet storage space. So a big, big market. People like their stuff, right? Who uses storage? It usually happens at life events. And so having a baby, getting married, then the unfortunate ones, losing a loved one, etc. So usually there come at moments where people don't have a bunch of free extra time laying around. They're stressful times. They're life events that, you know, you're kind of running from place to place trying to figure out where you're going to be able to knock out all the chores. So I had a personal experience where I needed storage. My wife and I had our first kiddo. She's 22 months now. So back in the summer of 2015, we needed storage. Garage was loaded with all of our extra furniture. We were also remodeling a part of our home, so things were going crazy. I did the drill that we have all done, right? I called around, tried to find a storage place near me, tried to find the right unit size, had to rent a truck, was going to have to enlist friends and family on a 100-degree summer day to haul things back and forth to the storage unit. And just realized that is a brutal process. Nobody enjoys doing that. You know, and it's going to take about 8 hours of my day where I'm trying to figure out how to put a car seat in the car, you know, which is not easy. It takes a long time. And so my co-founder and I, Dan Slavin, put our heads together and we said there's got to be a better way to do storage. Here's kind of how long it takes to take things to storage. So it's a long process. By the time you find a unit, sign up, sign a lease, an admin fee, load your items, take them to storage, unload them. So that's the time piece of it. So here's some of the cons with traditional storage. It's labor intensive, there's no inventory, limited nearby facilities near you. And from a business perspective, it's expensive real estate. Probably takes $10 to $15 million per storage facility to build and get it off the ground. It takes time to build that as well. Your entitlements and zoning are going to take a year. And then you have construction time, then a lease up. And so it's an inefficient model from a business perspective. And so I jumped ahead a little bit a second ago, but we created Callbox Storage. So Callbox is an experience, not a chore. So here's how we work. Instead of you going, loading, finding truck, taking it to storage, we come to your home after you sign up online or via phone. We pick up the items that need to go to storage. We do all the heavy lifting. Customer doesn't have to leave their home. They don't have to leave their couch for that matter. We haul it in our unit or in our van or truck. We also do a photo inventory and barcode each item that's going to storage so that the customer then has clarity on what's in storage. Customer will receive an online dashboard where they can view all their items that are in storage. There's a search feature if the customer wants to search for holiday decorations, camping gear for the weekend getaway, whatever it is, they can then click on those items and have them returned to them, 1 free delivery per month, up to 5 regular size items. So here's a demonstration of our technology. It's mobile friendly, technology. It's not app-based, it's web-based. But as you can see, there's a search feature, like I mentioned, search for Christmas decorations, sports equipment, whatever it is, 1 free delivery per month up to 5 items. And so we try to make it very simple, almost like the Amazon model, right? Customer doesn't want to leave their home. Storage is a very difficult process, lots of heavy lifting, lots of back and forth. So we've tried to eliminate that through our movers that we provide, free on the front end, and then free delivery on the back end as well. So here's how the time matches up with traditional storage. So we've kind of went over briefly the 8 hours it generally takes to get things to storage for an average 10 by 10 storage unit. So for Callbox, all the customer has to do, right, is sign up. Our guys show up, we do all the heavy lifting, and then on the back end, when we want something back, all they have to do is click on the item to get it back. So I think this is one of the biggest features to what we do is we give customers their time back. It's timely to do storage, and the resources aren't always readily available to make it happen. And so for us, very simple and very quick. Here's some other value props that we have. So if you kind of compare us to Public Storage or Pods, is that it? Okay, there you go. Here's our market. We service the whole Metroplex. Thanks.
You can probably cover some of that in the Q&A, though. Yeah.
That's great. I'm standing up here.
I love your mascot. She's so cute. Yeah, we need a bigger picture of her. I'm Alethea. I'm one of the organizers, and we're going to kick off the Q&A right now. I think you did a fabulous job, by
Thanks.
the way. Very polished, very calm. I really enjoyed it, and I need your solution. I've needed it a lot more when I moved from Seattle. So 14 minutes for Q&A. If you do have a question, please raise your hand. I'll come out to you. Very important, please do not start speaking until you receive the microphone. Otherwise, your questions won't be recorded in the video that Brad is producing. So I'll be out on the floor, and we'll get started right now. I know we have 2 on this side, so just raise your hands, and I'll come to you.
Hi, great presentation. So my
Thanks.
question is, what's the difference with your competitors?
So competitors being Pods or traditional storage. So traditional storage, you have to do all the work, right? So generally speaking, we think that our competitors are Public Storage, Extra Space, CubeSmart, the 1,200 red dots that were up there on the map. And so it's pretty clear that one of the biggest value props is we do all the heavy lifting, right? Customers don't always have extra help or extra hands to get things back and forth to a storage unit, and we do that for a customer. Another one is customers only pay for what they use, not for what they don't. And so based on our technology, we determine exactly the size plan that customers need based on what they're actually storing. And so there's no guessing. In my situation, I was guessing the size unit I need. I had no idea, right? And so we right-size customers. They want to add things over time. They can bump up and plan. They want to take things away. We bump them down. And then the third piece is really the clarity of what's in storage. Many people, if you have things in storage, you have to go to your unit. You have to dig around for it. You have no idea where it is. I mean, that takes time, right? And so through us, the search feature, search for holiday decorations, click on those items, and it's as simple as that.
Thank you.
What about insurance? Are any of the contents insured by your company?
They are. So we provide the standard insurance that's required in Texas. We're licensed as a Texas moving company. Although we're not a moving company, we want to make sure that we stayed above board. And so we're licensed. We have insurance in place to cover that minimum, which is 60 cents per pound for items. That can be low for something like a TV or whatever it is. And so we also provide additional insurance so that customers can purchase above that level.
Thank you.
Sure.
2 questions. The easy one, is it climate control? And the second one, you mentioned 5 regular size items. Can you define regular size items? And then are you able to exchange, say, 1 large in place of 5 items for that 1 free move?
Sure. So it is controlled. We have heaters in place for frost prevention, which is big in furniture because that can create mold. We also have air exchangers to avoid the peaks in temperature on the high end, not air conditioned, but generally it stays about 10 degrees cooler than what the outside temps would be. And then on your second question was? 5, sure. So regular size item is something that one person can handle. So if it's a heavy item like a couch, we charge a surcharge for that, $40 for the first and then $15 for any additional heavy items. That requires us to bring on an additional mover on the job, so we do charge extra for that. What we have done is, so let's say it's a customer that is getting everything back, they are doing a remodel, now they need 100 items back. And the delivery fees would have been $1,000, whatever it is, based on how that works. We always cap the return delivery fee at whatever their monthly storage fee is. So if they're in a small apartment plan, $178 per month, they have 75 items, that delivery fee is going to be capped at that 178 number.
How do you answer the question of where's my stuff?
It's in Grapevine, Texas. Yeah, so we have a central facility located right in the middle of the Metroplex that allows us to get to Fort Worth, Dallas, Denton, McKinney, and everywhere in between. And so it's a central spot for us. And so generally, people don't want to go to storage, right? It's not something that people enjoy doing. You know, we hear all the time from customers that it's just a long, empty hallway. It's kind of has that creepy feeling, you know? And so we eliminate that issue for customers. And so, answer your question? Grapevine, yeah.
So what is your turn time as far as a customer being picked up and redelivery? And can customers come to the warehouse?
So on your second question, can customers come to the warehouse? We say no in our terms unless it's a unique, special circumstance. We do make exceptions to that. For the sake of other customers' goods, we just can't have a bunch of customers in our facility walking around for the protection and security of the items. And on the turnaround time, we say 48 hours on our terms, or usually next day if we have to be, same day if it's an emergency. In the long run, we definitely want to be same day delivery. Put an order, request in by 10 a.m. You'll get it by 4, something like that is what we're exploring with now. If it's a full exit, big job, then we ask for 4 days advance notice. Usually that's possible because that's the person that's doing a remodel and they know when they need everything back.
Two questions. Obviously, you're a la carte, which is different than traditional storage where you're just paying for the space. So just curious on pricing for, it's going to be very personalized, but very curious on how you'd stack up to the competition and looking at that. And then on the back end, if you could answer it, curious about with your movers and how you structured the business. Are they all kind of independent contractors and they're just getting paid on the work they're doing? Is it a salaried team that you have enough work for week to week? What's that look like?
Sure. So on the pricing, so we're generally in line with storage prices in the Metroplex. That's how we make money. It's on that monthly storage fee. And so we're willing to give customer free pickup on the front end and free monthly delivery options for that storage. And the reason we're able to do that is because we're getting efficiencies on the real estate side of things. Our facility is in Grapevine, which real estate in Grapevine, while it's very nice, it's much cheaper than a location would be at Main and Main, right? Because generally traditional storage relies on drive-by traffic. We're relying on digital, social, word of mouth, and the convenience factor. An example, our 5x5 plan is $69.75 a month. Our 5x10 plan is $97.50 a month. And it goes up from there. We offer as little as a cubby plan, which is $18 a month for just a few boxes or totes. And then on your second piece, we have our own employees, and so we don't use contract labor. And so it might be something we explore in the long run as we expand to other markets on the East Coast and West Coast, but currently there are guys.
So my question is something that I ask a lot of entrepreneurs that present here, and that is, what is one of the biggest challenges that you've faced as y'all have grown over the past year?
Sure, good question. I think the biggest one for us, not to mention the emotional toll that startups take on any entrepreneur, right? Which are more than you might expect when you take that step, but also a lot of fun to kind of cross and hit some milestones. But awareness, I think, has been, I always say our biggest competition is awareness, because when people think of storage, they're thinking a place where I have to go and drop things off, the traditional model. I mean, like I showed, there's 1,200 of them all across the Metroplex, so you can't really drive very far and not see one. And so awareness, people don't quite understand that there's a better option out there. And that's getting better and better over time, of course, as word of mouth spreads and marketing grabs on and all that, but that's certainly been a big challenge.
Great idea, congratulations.
Thank you.
My question to you is, do you have, are you targeting a specific generation, like millennial, for example, or is it, because it's a lot of component, yes, there is a pain associated with it, but what happens is if I decide to move, I will announce and my friends and family will chip in, and that day one off will become experience, you know, like we move from this place and so many people. So it's also like an emotional component to it. Yes, I'm saving money, but do you have like a specific targeted generation?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we kind of market to everybody. I'd say our bread and butter customer are people that want to use it long term as an extension of the home, or they're downsizing, or whatever the case may be. But really, we've seen all across the board there's a need. A lot of what I'd say differently is a lot of storage comes from those life events. So those are kind of the life events that we target based on when there's going to be a need for self-storage.
Yeah, good concept.
Thanks.
But first of all, how big is your location? And secondly, how many customers? I saw something in one of the pictures, kind of briefly, that it looked like they were on racks. And so I'm just kind of curious as far as how that's set up and how you can kind of move customers in between.
Sure. So we don't disclose the customer count. I'll say that we have done over 1,200 pickups and deliveries over the last year since we launched, and our space is about 50,000 square feet. Austin's going to be about 40,000 square feet, and so you're right. We're similar to like a Costco or Sam's Club. If you walk in one of those where you have racking, things are organized, tracked through barcode locations and all that. So a customer requests something through the portal, we know exactly where that barcode is located, right? And so we go pick it off the shelf and load it on the truck and scan it onto the truck, scan it at the customer's home. So that's how it works.
Kyle, I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
So when you talked about your differentiators, it seems like to me the major one that you have is cataloging, right? So when you think about your current competitors, the 1,200 plus storage solutions here, even in this area, how difficult is it for them to duplicate that? Because it seems like they could create some sizable competition for you unless you have more differentiators planned, or if you think that's a really big barrier to entry.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate that we think about all the time is what happens to self-storage if this model really grabs on. We're the first Texas-based group to do it, but we're not the first in the country. So there's one in California, a few in New York, and they've really exploded over the last couple of years, seeing the similar growth that we are, because it's somewhat an easy sell. People don't like going to storage, right? It's just a painful process. And so what's the risk of them doing that operation? Real estate is valued much differently than an operating company is valued. And so for a real estate company that has one employee at their facility, it'd be quite an undertaking for them to add an additional $100,000 to $200,000 of labor that has a dramatic impact on how you value a real estate asset. And so, and then of course, the big guys that are public, their stock prices are all propped up by the value of their real estate. And so, can they do this in the long run? I think maybe they could to take a different real estate model, which would then cannibalize their own assets. So, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. I know U-Haul's kind of exploring something. They don't have as much storage, though, as some of the other big players do, so.
Cool. Well, thank you. And then the last question is, what can we as a community do to help you?
Sure. So like I mentioned earlier, I think our biggest hurdle is awareness. And so awareness, anything you guys can do to post something on Instagram, tell your friends and family as they have a need for storage. I think that that goes miles, you know, because we're a new company. We have great reviews on Facebook at Callbox Storage, so feel free to refer people over there, and just appreciate you guys listening. So.
Thank you so much for being here. We
Thanks.
appreciate it.